let's go friends, it's Miss Amanda. I'm going to walk you through how to make a circuit with a push button on it, also known as a normally open momentary switch. Okay, so to get started, we need our materials. So I've got my breadboard here. I have my Arduino Nano microcontroller, which right now we are just using as a power source. I want 3 jumper wires. And remember that these jumper wires can be any color. The color is just to help you keep track. You want an LED. It can be any color LED or any size LED. Just make sure it's a regular LED, not the RGB or red, green, blue LED. And you want a resistor. And you want a fairly low resistance because these are small lights, and you want your switch. So this is our normally open momentary switch. Normally open momentary switch means that it only turns on and completes the circuit when the button is pressed, and when it's not pressed, it doesn't work. So it's like a doorbell. You press the doorbell and it rings, you let go of the doorbell and it stops ringing. So we have that, and it's just a nice little switch. Okay, so I have my diagram up at the top here that can show you what the finished circuit will look like. And I've got my breadboard down here that I'm going to build along with you. So the first thing you need to do, as always, is connect to power. So our 3v3 pin right here on your controller is the second pin. So there's an open space and then 1, 2. You want the second pin labeled 3v3. That 3v3 then is going to be the path our electricity follows over into this positive power rail. And it can be anywhere on this positive power rail because remember inside that breadboard is a long metal strip. So as long as there's power connected to any part of this rail, it will travel down the whole way. Now we need to get power to the center part of our board. So I'm going to use another jumper wire. And it can be, again, anywhere. I'll just put it around the number 40 mark. So I'm putting it in the positive power rail, and I'm just going to jump it across up here. Okay. So for the next step, you just have to make sure that you're keeping it in a straight line with that jumper wire. So I can use either of these 2 holes because that's where the power is going to be. So I've got my switch, and it goes 2 directions. If you see the legs, and then this camera's a little bit fuzzy, but if you see the legs, I'll hold it up here. We've got 4 legs, and you can see that it's more of a rectangle than a square. And you can try either way, but it's only going to fit one way. It's going to fit with the long parts going down. Okay, and now this is a switch, so when it is closed, it's going to complete the circuit. And the way that works is you need to connect the top to the bottom somehow. Okay, so I'm going to put this switch right in here. And if it doesn't quite fit, that's okay. So, I see one of my legs got a little bit bent, so I'm going to just gently open that up a little bit. So the bottom left corner is where I'm matching my jumper wire. Okay, so it's in that same line. Then up here, I'm going to follow my description on my page up at the top here. I'm going to use my resistor, and I'm going to put the resistor in the same row as the top right corner. So again, everything has to make sure you're in the same row. And I know it's a little hard to see. It might be easier on the diagram, but there's that top leg, and it's in the same row as that resistor. And now the resistor is going sideways. And we haven't done sideways yet. It's sideways so that the power goes to a different row. Because if we put it vertically up and down like this, it would be in the same row, and it would cause a short circuit. The energy and the electricity would just circle back onto itself. Okay? So now I want my LED. Remember the LEDs have 2 legs, a long leg and a short leg. This longer leg is always positive, and I always think positive to power, PP, positive to power. So I'm going to put my positive leg in the same row as this leg of my resistor. And again, we're going to go sideways to not cause a short circuit. So before we cross the ravine, but this time we're separating the power by putting it in a different row. Okay? And I'll bend it a little bit so you can see it. Okay? So I have one leg, the positive leg is in the same row with the resistor, and then going sideways. Now in that negative leg row, I'm going to put my jumper wire. Remember, in the same row, and you can see it up in the diagram. And now we're just going to jump straight to ground. We're not going to bother going up to that power rail. We're going to go straight to ground. Remember that ground is abbreviated GND, and we're using that to complete our circuit. So there's an empty hole at the end, and then it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th pin, and it's labeled GND. So now my circuit that I've made matches the diagram. I am going to plug it in and see if it works. Now, I've seen a lot of people get confused with this because remember, when I plug it in, the light should not turn on because it's a switch. So I'm going to plug it in. And this little red light, the onboard LED, just means that the Arduino works. So that's okay. So now we'll see if my circuit worked. I'm going to push the button, and if it worked, it's going to light up. And there we go. I made my push button LED. So when I push the light, it's on. When I let go, it's off. Okay. Can't wait to see your finished circuits. Thanks, guys. Bye.